and welcome to Stories for Wonderful Children. I'm Dan Wendelin, your host and storyteller. Years ago, I began recording the bedtime stories I told my children every night. Now, I'd like to share those stories with you. I hope you enjoy my Stories for Wonderful Children. Once upon a time, there was a giant. A giant. And this giant was a young giant. She was a young girl. And
was she a boy giant or
she was a girl? She was a girl giant. And because she was young, she wasn't really very tall yet. She was only about as tall as our house. When she got to be full grown, she would be as tall as 3 of our houses stacked on top of each other. But she was still a young giant. And as a matter of fact, she was so young that she was still learning how to use the giant potty correctly. Now, what this young giant wanted more than anything else was a pet. Now, when you or I get a pet, we get fish, or we get... What other kind of pets do we get?
Dogs.
Dogs, yeah.
Kittens.
And
rabbits.
Rabbits, good, yep.
And some more cats.
Guinea pigs, yep, good. Cats.
And some more dogs and some more dogs.
Yes.
And some stories.
Well, this little giant, whose name was Foosha. Foosha, which sounds like a funny name to you or me, but it's really a very normal name for a giant.
What the heck was that named called? What was the name again?
Foosha. Foosha the giant. And what Foosha wanted as a pet more than anything else, she wanted a bear.
A bear?
A bear. Now, they're very big and they have sharp claws, and they're not a good pet. But for a giant, a bear is only as big as a gerbil would be to you or me, and so a bear is not a bad pet for a giant. But Foosha's mommy and daddy did not want to get her a bear as a pet. She would remind them every day. She said, "Please, mommy and daddy, can I have a bear? Maybe for my next birthday, I would pet it and love it and feed it and give it water to drink, and I would clean up its poop so that it wasn't any place bad. And I would name it Jujubee." And her mommy and daddy would say, "We'll see, but not today, Foosha." Well, when it came time for Foosha to learn to use the giant potty, she had some trouble remembering, so her mommy and daddy gave her some incentive. They gave her incentive is sort of a reward for doing the right thing. And her mommy and daddy gave her a big cup. Now this cup, because it was a giant cup, would be big enough for you or I to lay down and sleep in. It was so big. And they made this deal with her. They said, every time you use the potty, you get a piece of candy in your cup. And if you collect 30 pieces of candy, you may trade them in for a bear. And she said, a bear of my very own to love and hug and call Jujubee? And her mommy and daddy said, yes, if you get 30 pieces of candy. So, Foosha worked very hard to remember to use the potty and to do all her steps, to sit and to pull down her underwear before she sat, and to wipe when she was done. Now, if you can imagine, giant toilet paper is the same size as like a huge bath towel would be for you or me. Yeah. As a matter of fact, sometimes she used people towels as toilet paper. And she would remember to wipe and she would remember to wash her hands. And the first day of the deal, at the end of the day, Foosha had 3 pieces of candy She had gone to the potty 5 times, but once she had forgotten to wipe, so she hadn't gotten a piece of candy for that. And once she had done everything right, but the candy had looked so good, it had been a mint with chocolate on it, that she had decided to eat the candy instead of saving it. At the end of the second day, she had 8 pieces of candy. She had gone to the potty 5 times. She'd done everything right, so she'd gotten 5 more and she hadn't eaten any of them. The day after that, she also got 5, so she was up to 13. She said, I'm almost halfway to getting my bear. The day after that, she got 5 pieces of candy. She went to the potty 6 times, but one of the days she'd forgotten to flush. So then she was up to 18 pieces of candy. But then, the next day, she had some friends over, and she used the potty 3 times, and she had an accident. And then each of her friends wanted a piece of candy, and she had 3 friends over. So at the end of that day, she had 17 pieces. She'd actually lost a piece because she'd shared her candy. And she counted them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 13 more pieces to go. The next day, she did everything perfectly. She went to the potty 6 times during the day. She remembered to wipe and to flush and to wash her hands. And so she got 6 pieces of candy, and she was up to 19, almost 2/3 of the way there. Or no, she had 17. I'm sorry. She was up to 23. And she said, only 2 more days, only 2 more days. The next day, she got 4 pieces of candy. Well, she got 5, but she ate one of them. So she was up to 27. And the day after that, she got her 30th piece of candy halfway through the day. She ran into her mommy and daddy bringing her cup. She counted them out on the table. She said, look, I have 30 pieces of candy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And she took the candy and she handed it over to her mommy and daddy. She said, here's the candy. Oh, they said, wonderful. Well, let's go bear shopping. So they took the candy from her. They went out and they got on their giant tricycle. Well, a giant tricycle is like a people tricycle in that it has 3 wheels, but it is unlike a people tricycle in that it has 3 seats. So there was a seat for Foosha, a seat for
the bear?
No, a seat for her mommy and a seat for her daddy.
But where could the bear sit?
Well, she'll carry the bear. And they went to the pet store. Now, it wasn't the ordinary pet store. It was the giant pet store. And so there were no dogs or cats or gerbils or snakes or lizards or fish. Well, there were fish, but they weren't little fish. They were huge fish like tuna and great white sharks and manta rays, because those are the sort of fish that giants keep in their aquariums. But they had a number of pets that you or I might think was sort of funny. They had elephants, which small giants could ride on. They had hippopotamuses and zebras. They had horses. They had cows. But she had eyes only for one thing. She went straight to the back. They had 2 different kinds of bear. They had brown bears and they had white bears. She thought, which shall it be? Now, if you were she, which kind of bear would you get?
Brown. Brown.
I'm glad that you agree. That is what she decided to get. She said, I want a brown one, Mommy. And so her mommy took the bear. She held it in the palm of her hand, and they went and they paid for it. And on the way home, she cuddled it like a little baby, and the bear fell asleep in her arms. And after that, she was as good as her word. She fed it every day. She picked up after it. She gave it water to drink, and she had a fun time playing with it for a long time. And she did indeed name it Jujubee. Thanks for listening to Stories for Wonderful Children. I created today's story, but questions and clever commentary were supplied by my children.
The intro and outro music is by Brandon Thompson. If you enjoy the show, please tell someone about it, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Our email is storiesforwonderfulchildren@gmail.com, and you can also find us on Facebook or Twitter. I'm Dan Wendelin, reminding you to tell someone you love a story.